We start with a mother snarling at her own infant. No, she's not just a tired parent who hasn't had coffee. She's turning into a vampire. To protect her child, she literally rips the fangs out of her own face, which is a bold parenting choice that definitely wasn't in the What to Expect books. Fast forward a few years and Nadja is living the dream, wearing a wig to hide her bald head and surviving on animal blood and a special don't eat people serum. She's raising her son, Elias, as a normal human, which is impressive considering her skincare routine involves avoiding the sun like a redditor. They think they're living a peaceful life until a trip abroad ruins everything. Naturally, the story begins on a lonely mountain road, because where else would a horror movie start? Their car dies in a dead zone with zero cell service. Nikolai, the husband and clearly the first person on the chopping block, checks under the hood. Finding nothing, he tells Nadja and Elias to wait while he walks toward a nearby village. Spoiler alert, he's not coming back with snacks. An hour passes, and Nikolai is officially missing. A worried Nadja follows his footprints to a farmhouse that has bad vibes written all over it in literal blood. She enters and follows a red trail into the basement. Suddenly, a monster-like man jumps out. Nadja trips in the dark and finds Nikolai's corpse. Clearly, this wasn't the romantic getaway she had in mind. The monster attacks again, but the rising sun saves her. It turns out even monsters have a bedtime. Unfortunately, Nadja realizes the creature bit her hand. She thinks it's just a scratch, but soon she's growing razor-sharp fangs and developing a sudden, intense craving for an O-negative smoothie. She realizes she's turning into one of those things. She tries pulling her fangs out again, but they grow back in days. Talk about a stubborn biological trait. Desperate for answers, she returns to the farmhouse, where an old man with a cane appears. He's grieving because she killed his monster son. "He bit me," Nadja fires back, which is a fair point, but the old man isn't looking for an apology. He's looking to shoot her. They get into a brutal fight, and Nadja kills him. So much for respect for the elderly. Inside the house, she finds the suppression medicine and burns the place down, because nothing says moving on like arson. 8 years pass. Nadja is now bald, but has the strength of a gym rat on steroids. She finds a professor who promises a cure via a full blood transfusion. Thrilled at the idea of finally being able to go to a beach, she and Elias head to the airport for a flight to New York. Before boarding, she hits herself with the serum to stay normal, but as soon as they take off, the plot decides to stop being a medical drama and starts being a heist movie. A group of hijackers kills the air marshals and the pilot. They herd everyone into coach, and Elias, who apparently has the survival instincts of a secret agent, finds a hiding spot on the plane's blueprints. He makes a break for the tail of the plane, and Nadja rushes to stop him, only to run straight into a hijacker named 8-Ball. 8-Ball shoots Nadja, and she collapses. He's about to end Elias too, but his partner stops him because they don't want to damage the cabin. Apparently murder is fine, but a hole in the upholstery is where they draw the line. They drag Elias back, having no idea they've just killed a woman who doesn't stay dead. The hijackers are currently high-fiving each other, completely unaware that the woman they just ventilated is about to wake up with a violent cough and a serious grudge. Nadja pulls herself off the floor, because dying is more of a minor inconvenience for her, and sneaks through a trapdoor into the cargo hold. She finds a few puppies in travel crates, and, in a move that is definitely going to get her cancelled on social media, drinks their blood to regain her strength.
I don't know what to do now. I don't have the skills necessary to deal with this.
Sorry, Peter, but the lady needs her vitamins. A hijacker hears the commotion and comes down to investigate, but Nadja is back in top form. She takes him down in seconds and drinks his blood, which heals her wounds instantly. Even the fangs she ripped out grow back, like she's got the world's most aggressive dental plan. While reaching for her serum, she overhears the hijackers on the radio. It turns out their grand plan isn't political. It's just a massive insider trading scam. They want to crash the plane to tank the airline's stock and make millions. Imagine killing a plane full of people just to fix your portfolio. Absolute legends of corporate greed. Nadja realizes that being a good mom isn't going to cut it anymore. She has to embrace her inner monster to save Elias. She rushes to the cockpit, but it's empty and locked on autopilot. She heads back to the cabin and asks if anyone can fly a plane. A young man raises his hand, claiming he's taken some flight simulator classes. Oh great, the lives of 200 people are in the hands of a guy who probably uses a joystick in his mum's basement. The plan is to wait for the hijackers to parachute out, then land the plane. But 8-Ball finds his partner's drained corpse in the cargo hold and realizes Nadja is still very much active. After a brutal interrogation, Reed threatening everyone, a passenger cracks and tells the hijackers that Nadja is in the cockpit. To prove they aren't playing, the hijackers execute a passenger right in front of the security camera. When that doesn't work, they point a gun at a little girl. As a mother, this is Nadja's breaking point. She bursts through the door like a bat out of hell and tears out the leader's throat. The other hijackers scramble back in pure terror, finally realizing they brought guns to a supernatural freak show fight. As she prepares to finish them, the leader starts to mutate. Pro tip: if you're a vampire, maybe don't leave your infectious saliva in people's neck veins. Nadja stabs him through the heart to stop the spread. Realizing she's a ticking time bomb, she tells Elias to keep the cockpit door locked for his own safety and locks herself in the bathroom. Meanwhile, 8-Ball, who is apparently the only hijacker with a reading habit, finds Nadja's diary. He learns she's a vampire and immediately starts sharpening wooden spears. It's a bit DIY, but points for effort. The two face off again. 8-Ball catches her with a powerful UV light, which is basically spicy sunshine to her. Nadja collapses in pain, but instead of finishing her, 8-Ball decides he wants a taste of that immortal power. He uses a syringe to steal her blood and injects himself. Because if there's one thing a chaotic, murderous hijacker needs, it's a supernatural thirst for blood and zero impulse control. Elias finally picks up a gun to save his mum. During the struggle, a shot rings out, hitting a window and causing a sudden loss of cabin pressure. Oxygen levels drop, the flight simulator expert faints in the cockpit, and the hijackers regain control. Nadja, now desperate, entrusts her son to a passenger named Fareed and tracks 8-Ball to the cargo hold. He's hiding inside a bulletproof SUV, like a coward. Nadja jams a metal bar through the window, but 8-Ball just uses the opportunity to inject the rest of the vampire blood. Nadja tries to burn him out with alcohol and a match, but the co-pilot, the ultimate buzzkill, triggers the fire extinguishers. 8-Ball's transformation is finally complete. And shocker, he's not a sparkly teen heartthrob. He bursts out of the SUV and starts tearing his own crew to pieces, which is one way to handle a HR dispute. Bullets don't even slow him down. He's essentially a rabid tank with teeth. Naturally, when the passengers realize Nadja is also a vampire, they do the most human thing possible. They try to shoot the woman trying to save them. Elias screams for her to watch out, and honestly, the kid is the only one with a working brain cell left on this flight. Nadja finally snaps. After years of suppressing her hunger and being treated like a monster by the people she's protecting, she goes into a full-blown frenzy. She starts biting passengers left and right, even knocking down poor Fareed, the only guy who is actually being helpful. Elias has to yell at her to get her to stop, which is a great look for Mother of the Year. But there's no time for a therapy session because the cargo hold vampires are pounding on the cabin door. Nadja and Fareed team up to block the entrance, but Fareed gets bitten. To stop him from turning into a mindless ghoul, Nadja hacks off his hand with a fire axe. It's effective, sure, but definitely ruins his chances of finishing that flight simulator course. Then a dying passenger, who clearly watched too many Twilight movies, opens the door hoping a bite will give him eternal life. 8-Ball isn't interested in a new roommate. He just kills the guy. Now the cabin is a total buffet. The remaining humans rush the cockpit, but the co-pilot refuses to open the door. He's figured out the math. If the door opens, everyone becomes a snack. Nadja realizes these monsters can't be allowed to land. The plan? Land at sunrise so the spicy light kills the vampires, then blow the plane sky high. The problem is the detonator is stuck in the cargo hold, which is currently occupied by 8-Ball and his new friends. Nadja is ready to sacrifice herself, but Elias, apparently having mastered the air ducts like he's in Mission Impossible, sneaks down with a UV flashlight to grab the remote. He gets trapped under a car, and Nadja sees him on the monitor. She decides to go full beast mode. One last time. She kills the traitorous co-pilot, drinks his blood for a final power-up, and uses his body as literal bait. She tackles 8-Ball just as he's about to eat Elias. It's a brutal fight, but 8-Ball has the freshly turned strength advantage. Elias, showing some serious guts, taunts the monster into leaping at him. The second 8-Ball is in the air. Elias hits the trigger. The explosion sends 8-Ball flying out of the plane just as the sun hits the horizon. Fareed tilts the plane to make sure the rays hit him perfectly. The UV light rips 8-Ball's cells apart until he's just expensive ash. Nadja, however, is completely drained. Elias tries to wake her up with his own blood, which works, but as soon as she tastes it, she crawls into the shadows. She knows that as long as she's alive, her own son looks like a 5-star meal. Fareed manages an emergency landing, and Elias slides to safety. But the military arrives, and, because they haven't seen the movie we just sat through, they think Fareed is a hijacker. They wait until nightfall to storm the plane, which is literally the worst possible time to fight vampires. It's a total bloodbath. Elias slips away from the ambulance to find his mum. He sees her tearing into a soldier, and he finally accepts that the mother part of her is gone. There's only the monster left. In a heartbreaking finale, he pulls out the hidden detonator and presses the button. The entire plane goes up in a massive fireball, taking Nadja and the rest of the undead with it. The movie ends with Fareed being set free and hugging Elias. So, in summary, the airline stock probably didn't do great, the puppies are gone, and Elias is definitely going to need a lifetime of therapy. And that's a wrap on the most stressful flight in history.